Sarah and Gen Sowden. Welcome.
Thank you, Bianca.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Okay, so if you can just start off by telling us a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, what you do.
Okay, so my name is Gen Sowden. So I'm the resident teacher of Kadampa Meditation Centre, Adelaide. So we're part of an international tradition of Buddhism, and we have centres and temples all around the world. And so here in Adelaide we do the same as we do in all our centres, which is we emphasise teaching. So we have lots of classes and workshops, and we also do traditional things like chanted prayers and retreats and things like that. But most of our public activities are classes, meditation classes, and they're very practical, for everybody.
How did you get involved in this and this journey?
Yeah, how to keep it short. So, like everyone, I was looking for a happy life, and at one point I had a lot of the things that I felt should be giving me that really happy life, and there was just still something missing. So I changed my external situation, and there was still something missing. So
external meaning
like I changed countries. Like I was living overseas at the time, so I came back home. I thought maybe that was it, and maybe I needed to retrain, and things like this. So, and I started doing that, but then I found a leaflet for the centre, the local Kadampa Buddhist Centre in Sydney, and I went along. And the rest is history.
Yeah, interesting how you say you found a leaflet, and you hear people say, well, do you think that was a coincidence, or you think it was like destiny?
Yeah. Well, we talk about karma in Buddhism, so we have potentialities in our mind stream for everything that we experience. So it's those karmic potentialities that ripen for us to experience anything. So finding that leaflet, like I'm sure Sarah had a similar experience, was our karma ripening to meet the teachings.
Gee, that just gave me goosebumps. How interesting. So you were ready in that moment, and the universe brought it to you.
I think mine, very similar. I was finding I was having a lot of trouble controlling how I felt. Like I felt like I had to react to the world, and it was very challenging. I was in my late teens at the time. So a lot of emotional sort of turmoil, and I was thinking I really want to have a more controlled, peaceful mind. And a monk walked into my workplace, and said, "Do you want to come to Buddhism?" And I was like, "What a weird appearance!" And he had the leaflets, and I was like, "I can't say no, can I?" Like I've been sitting here going, "I want to work on my mind, and I want to be more peaceful." And this monk appears, so kind of the rest was history.
Yeah, it definitely happens like that when you start wishing for that kind of spiritual path or a more deeper happiness, some meaning. That's when those things can appear for us.
That's exciting because it's positive and reassuring that when we're ready, it will appear.
Yeah, the teacher appears, they say, don't they?
Yeah. Good one. Very nice. All right, so before we continue on, can we just do a little small few minute meditation?
Yeah.
And this is not for the people driving, so if you're driving, do not do this. It's if you're home, if you're relaxing, if you're at work and you're in the lunchroom. Is it lunchtime? No, it's not. It's afternoon tea time. It's afternoon tea time. But all right, so if you're home, or if you're in a space where you can just chill out, get on a comfy chair, and I don't know, you might have your warm cup of tea with you or whatever, but you just get comfy, and we're just going to do a very small couple of minute unwind the system, just relax the mind and get into that very relaxed, peaceful state with our two beautiful guests here this afternoon.
Okay, so wherever you are, try and find a comfortable position, preferably just seated. We try not to lie down when we meditate, so just sitting comfortably. Rest your hands together in your lap. If you like, you can put them in the Buddhist posture, which is the right hand inside the left with the thumbs lightly touching in the middle. And then just gently close your eyes. take a few moments just to let go of any obvious tension in your body. And now bring your awareness to your breathing. Just the natural rhythm of your breathing. We're just going to focus on this for the next couple of minutes. We're going to enjoy having nothing else to do, nothing else to think about other than breathing. Distracting thoughts will arise. Try not to pay any attention to them. Just let them go, like a wave passing in the ocean. Keeping your awareness on your breathing, just the natural process of inhalation and exhalation as you breathe. Enjoy allowing your mind to settle. We never usually do this. It's always busy. Just concentrating for one more minute.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, just going to take a very quick break. The silence was making the alarm go off, so it's like
I was trying to fill it in because we normally don't talk much at all.
So we're back. We're back from the little meditation we had there. Just a couple of minutes just to unwind. So if you could just talk us through, because there was that quiet space, but if you could just talk us through what the person doing the meditation has to do at home if they want to do it for themselves.
Yeah, so we sit comfortably and ideally not in a chair that's like too comfortable, because then you can tend to fall asleep quite easily. But then just put your hands together in your lap, gently close your eyes and just concentrate on your breathing. So it's simple, but it's not always easy, especially at the beginning. It can feel like our mind is super busy, like it feels like it's making our mind more busy, but actually we're just noticing how busy our mind is. So yeah, we just sit comfortably, we give ourselves that time, because that's the temptation is to just rush on to the next thing. So we're trying to give ourselves a little break in the day, to let our mind settle a little bit, to get some peace of mind, some stillness in the mind, so that we can then think more clearly. It's hard to think clearly when your mind is so busy all the time. So when we meditate, we're giving ourselves that space, that clarity, that stillness that's going to allow us to cope with all the busyness and difficulties of daily life.
Absolutely. So, and I understand also you've got your workshops. What else do you have? You've got your half-day workshop,
yeah,
and then you've got the classes, So if you can just talk to us about those that people can go to.
So I'll jump in here. So with the classes, they're drop-in classes, so they're accessible to everybody. You don't have to be a Buddhist to come along. You don't have to have the intention to become a Buddhist. We have a lot of people from different faiths who come to them, but it's really about learning about your mind and how you can be happy using Buddha's teachings. So you don't have to commit to the religion itself, but it's how do I use his teachings in my modern day life? And those classes are really accessible to everybody. I think people worry, oh, what if I don't know enough? You don't need to. You're walked through the whole process. You know how to meditate. You're guided through that, guided through the teaching. So it's a really nice chance to sort of learn more about these methods of controlling your mind in a modern way. You know, it's a short hour and 15 minutes, like a standard class. And so you can just come along and learn. If you want to dive a bit deeper, obviously the half-day courses means you really get to immerse yourself in that environment, you know, from 10 to 1, and really hear a bit more depth in the teachings. And again, accessible to everybody as well.
Yeah. So what are some of the teachings of the of Buddhism? I mean, I know there's it's such a sort of big question, but just some of the basic common teachings and principles of Buddhism. You know, I know a lot of us know about karma, you know, what we give out, we get back. But if you could just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main emphases, the plural of emphasis, is on learning how to really care about other people. It's about developing our good heart of love, because this is a real source of happiness for us. You know, often we think, well, why should I love others? Or it feels like we're doing something for others instead of for ourselves. But actually, when we develop that good heart of love towards others that cares about more and more people, more and more deeply, then the deeper our happiness becomes. So that mind of kindness, of love, of compassion, they are all a huge part of Buddhist training, and they are true sources of happiness, in that the more we have them in our mind, the happier we become. You know? So, and we do teach that a lot, because it is so accessible to everybody, to modern people, you know, and we improve our relationships, we become happier, our mind becomes peaceful, we become less angry, less jealous, less arrogant. You know, I know not all of us are arrogant, but sometimes we can feel that in our mind, and you know, that love that we have for others, it protects us from all of those problems. You know, and our attachment that wants things from other people all the time, that mind of love, you know, is an opponent to that. And so we find that a lot of the problems in our relationships start to solve the more we train our mind in love.
And it's always interesting, isn't it? Like the tests that you know, people say, you know, life throws tests at them, because when things are all sort of good and things are going well, or someone's treating us right, we can extend love and kindness and all the things you were talking about. But really, I think everyone can do that. Like if we treated well and people are nice to us, we can be nice. But the test is how we are when things don't go our way, or when someone shows, you know, disdain or anger towards us that isn't warranted, let's say. So that's the test of really how we're travelling, I suppose, on our emotional meter, is how are we going to react to those who aren't sort of responding in the correct way.
Yeah,
that's really the challenge, isn't it?
That's the nice side about Buddhism, because it gives you a bit more power, because, you know, as Sardan was saying, you have that choice of, well, what do I do with my mind now? You know, because I could get upset, or I could love this person. I think Buddhism gives you that almost like a set of options to work with. Once you sort of start to train your mind, you get like an impact zone where you're like, oh, I can choose my reaction here, because not everybody's going to be nice to us every day, you know, so it's good to have that option.
And that's the real training for us as Buddhists. Like, we learn to, especially as Kadampa Buddhists, we learn to love difficulties, because that's the real training ground, like you say, Bianca. And those difficulties, they give us that opportunity to develop inner strength and peace and wisdom and renunciation and compassion, and all these minds that are powerful sources of happiness for us. They actually come from our difficulties.
So did you say that in your training you've got difficulties? Is that what you said?
No, just for as part of our training, like we can use those difficulties that appear to us. So everybody has difficulties.
Everybody in their everyday life, in the training of life, you mean?
Yeah, and
is that what you
training
mean,
for us as Buddhist
is in your practice?
practitioners,
Right.
We enjoy those difficulties. We try to enjoy them.
Right.
They're an opportunity.
Yeah, we understand the value.
So when you say difficulties, what do you mean? Like, do you
Just
mean
anything?
It can be something like being stuck in traffic. You know, for a lot of people, that's a difficulty that sets their day off in a bad way.
Yeah.
But as a Buddhist, you're like, wonderful, I can practice patience. You know, I'm going to try and practice patience now. Or even, you know, love for that person who cut you off, even though you've been sitting in traffic. You know, you get to do that. I'm going to love this person right now.
Yeah. So I was driving the other day and I must have done something that I didn't realise I did, and the woman stuck her finger up and then she was screaming. I could see her face in the rear vision mirror and I thought, wow, that's an angry lady. And I realised it wasn't me because I didn't let her in, but I didn't see her. And she just cut through and I felt really just sort of upset that I upset her, but I didn't realise I did it. And I thought, wow, she was really angry.
Yeah.
And then that thing comes up that you think you have that choice in that exact moment now. Do I get angry at her for being angry at me, or do I just chill out and just keep on driving? Yeah, we've always got to test ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
There's tests all around.
Yeah. And as a Buddhist in that situation, we would think, do I get angry or do I have compassion? You know?
You just say, poor thing,
Because,
she must be busy and
and
stressed.
that person who is angry is suffering. So if we understand that, then it's easy for us to have compassionate mind towards them. And it doesn't mean that we don't, you know, ever, you know, maybe we've got someone in our life who's difficult. We think, well, I can't say anything. But actually, if we care about people, sometimes the best thing is to say something.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
so
give us an example. I think we all might need this.
over to you, Sarah.
Because people don't like to be told.
No.
I mean, no one does. I mean, you know, I think people are generally well intentioned, and so if someone comes up to them and says, listen, you know, I just want to talk to you because you know you really did this and did that, how are we going to word it? Can you tell us how to word it, please, so the heckles of the other person don't go up?
The main thing is our intention, actually, because if we have a good intention, like a really good intention, so sometimes we tell ourselves that we have a good intention, but actually we just want them to change. But if we get our intention really right and it's coming from a really good place, then there's a good chance it'll be successful. Also though, if we have that good intention, we can think through clearly, is it actually going to be beneficial for me to say something here or not, you know? And then if we think it will, then we'll try and think of a way to say it that's not going to harm them. You know, as Buddhists we practice non-harmfulness. So we're always trying to protect others and help them, and sometimes that is, you know, pulling someone up on something, but we've got to be really clear on our intention, because often we just want to do that because we don't like what they're doing, you know. So we always just try to be kind and really think through if we think it's going to be beneficial to say something or just leave it.
Do you think that most of the time it's better to leave it? That's sort of my philosophy.
Probably most of the time. But the thing I think about it most is like a parent with a child, you know, like because the parent cares for the child and wants them to be happy and wants them to have a good life and be accepted by others and so forth, they will tell them things that if they're behaving badly, that's upsetting the people around them, then that parent will confidently say, now, you know, that behaviour is not really good. And that it's coming from their love for the child, you know. So yeah, there are ways to do it, but we really do have to get our intention very clear because it is very easy to upset people.
Yeah.
Particularly when people are already angry, you don't want to be like, oh, well, you're suffering because of your anger.
That's not
that
the
never
time.
helps.
Exactly. Very good. Okay, so if you can give us some tips to improve our meditation practice, because we're always working on it, aren't we? We're always trying to sort of, I won't say perfect it because there's no such thing as perfect, but you know, our mind's always going to have that chatter and busyness and thoughts. It's just a matter of watching the thoughts go by, not attaching to them. But how can we just improve it? Is it the room? Do we make the room dim, quiet? I don't know. Can we do something with the room and then work on our mind?
Yeah, there's definitely external things we can do to help ourselves, like having a comfortable seat that's not too much like a lounge.
Fall asleep in it.
Yeah, and having somewhere that's bright and airy. My teacher, Venerable Geshe Kelsang Gyatso Rinpoche, he says we find somewhere that's got lots of natural light and air if we can, because that helps us to stay awake, you know, and we want to be awake, because this is the thing, sometimes we think meditation is it's relaxation, which it is, but we're also actually actively training in something. So a nap is nice, but it's not meditation. So we can use those external things to help us. I mean, I always recommend coming to a class because we get those guided meditations on a regular basis. We get constant input and inspiration for our practice. And then one of the main things is just doing it, you know, so just practicing it regularly. We have one of our teachings is called the Force of Familiarity, which Sarah is teaching tonight at Prospect Library at 7 p.m. No, 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
And it is that we just need to become familiar with the practice, and so we've just got to keep doing it, even on those days where it doesn't feel like we're getting very peaceful, or it's not, maybe we think it's not really working. It is, you know, because it's a training, and so every time we practice it, we're getting better at it. We're building up our store of experience, you know, and that's what's going to lead us to that more and more peaceful states, you know. It doesn't come overnight, it doesn't come instantly, and some days it'll feel like we're not very good at meditation, of course, and sometimes our mind is busy and doesn't let us rest. So on those days we still do our meditation and we think, yes, I've created the causes for peace in the future. So we just keep doing it, you know, we keep practicing.
I think encouraging ourselves so important. Like as Adam's saying, you know, we say, yes, I did it that time. Like I meet so many people who go, oh, I meditated once and I'm not very good at it. And you're going to say, well, of course you weren't good at it once. You know, we all drove a manual car once and we're all terrible at it. That might have just been me. Yes, we've all done terrible things. So, you know, whereas now we can drive seemingly mindlessly in some cases. So it's good to practice again, because it becomes, you know, more and more natural. And yeah, sometimes you're going to have bad meditations no matter how long you've been doing it for. But it's that moment where you go, that was still beneficial. You know, it was still helpful.
Yeah, it always counts.
And what about food and exercise and getting into nature? Is that all embodied in your philosophy and your sort of lifestyle practices, you know, body, mind, spirit?
It's not terribly important in terms of meditation. So, for instance, if you're someone who couldn't easily get out and exercise or have a lot of physicality, then you can still meditate, you know.
Oh, sorry, I should have worded it better. It was regarding Buddhism.
Yeah, that's why I always talk about Buddhism.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's not, you know, we understand that it's important to eat healthy food because that keeps your body going for as long as possible. We want to have a long life if we can, so that we've got more time to train our mind. And we try to exercise, of course, just as part of a healthy lifestyle, but they're not essential parts of Buddhism. So like, you don't have to eat a certain way to be a Buddhist, or you don't have to do certain physical exercises to be a Buddhist. It really is for everybody.
Or maybe I'm thinking of the Buddhist monks, because I thought that they eat once a day, IMAD, 1 meal a day, and they collect from the community and they put it all in one bowl that they can see.
Yeah, that's the Theravadins.
Is that different?
Yeah, so that's a different lineage. So they're still Buddhists.
Right.
They are Hinayana Buddhists, and we're Mahayana Buddhists. So those Hinayana teachings are included in ours, but we don't practice externally as strictly as they do. We focus on the mind training. So for the Theravadins, who you would have seen, they wear the yellow robes, and we often see them in Thailand and other Southeast Asian countries. That's part of their practice, is that it's a moral discipline practice of restraint and the gathering food from the community, that begging tradition. That's a very ancient tradition for them, but not all Buddhists practice in that way, and especially as modern Buddhists, the begging thing probably wouldn't work very well, especially in a society where Buddhism is still quite a minority, in those places where the monks do beg for food. It's been done for a long time, and the community understand that, and they're happy to help.
Everyone's on board.
Yeah, but we're in a slightly different culture, and so that wouldn't really work so well.
And what about things like makeup and hair as well? And I remember seeing this with the Buddhist monks that were wearing the orange. This guy said he was from LA, and he used to be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson, and he went to this. He went somewhere in the world, I can't remember where it was, but he became a Buddhist monk, and he said the first thing they had to do was shave their head, because something to do with hair attachment or something. And females obviously not, put the mascara on and full on makeup. So can you explain that? The hair, the makeup, the perfume, the everything, the different outfits. They only have like one or two outfits. How does that all come into the materialistic side of it?
We could both have a go at this. It's what the difference is between an ordained Buddhist practitioner and a lay Buddhist practitioner. So we have one of each in the studio here today. So I'm an ordained practitioner, so I have shaved head, I wear my robes. We have very little material things, and we try to practice contentment and so forth. And the shaving of the head is to help us with our renunciation, which opposes our attachment. And basically we're pulling away from a worldly life. We're emphasizing a spiritual life. So for us, it's just a reminder, and I might add, very easy to maintain.
True. Yes.
And so,
less is best, right?
For ordained people, there's those outer aspects. There's also, no jewelry and makeup and so forth. But for a lay practitioner, like my friend Sarah here,
so there's no rules about how do I dress or look and appear. Obviously, when I'm teaching, you want to appear in a way that is appropriate to the society that you're in, but also for me, my moral discipline is different to Southern, so there's things that we will do slightly differently, both practicing the path, but for me, I still work full time, I have a family, all those sorts of things. Which is kind of what I love about this tradition, is it's made for the modern world. Like Geshe, who's the founder, came over and went, well, these people don't have time to do 8-hour practices, so can I keep the meaning the same but just change it for the modern people? And when you come to our centres, you see that, like, there's lay and ordained practitioners practicing alongside each other, and that's really nice. Like, it's quite a modern thing to see.
Unique,
And females.
Lots of
Thank you.
female bosses.
Okay, so if people want to contact you, what do they do?
You can follow us on Facebook, Modern Buddhist. So we've got a Facebook page which is called Meditate in Adelaide. We also have an Instagram page. We have a website, and I have to go by memory here, www.meditateinaadelaide.org. Yes. So we've got a website, but if you just look up, Meditate in Adelaide, we should come up on Google as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Any last words to our listener? Any positive affirmations we can just leave them with?
Just to remember that our state of mind really determines the quality of our life. So if we try and keep our thoughts positive, and so something that we always use as a go-to practice is just trying to cherish others. So trying to have that good heart towards the people around us. We have to start with the people that we share our life with, and maybe we start to by appreciating them. You know, it's so easy to find fault with the people in their life, but if instead we start thinking about their good qualities and the kindness that they've shown us, it actually helps us to have a much happier mind towards them, and then they'll be happy too.
Okay. I will be a bit cheeky here and just say, and for those people who haven't been nice to us, what do we do there? I'll just take it to that one deep level, that testing level, you know, because sometimes people aren't always away, whatever. So how do we deal with the challenges?
Yeah, it's huge, but we try and practice acceptance, you know. A lot of things happen in our life that we don't want to happen. We can't control the external situations of our life, but we can control our mind. And a huge part of keeping ourselves peaceful, protecting ourselves and our mind, is through accepting, you know, and to stop thinking things should be other than what they are. So this is the practice of patient acceptance. We understand whatever is arising, and there's no point fighting against it. We can accept, we keep our mind peaceful, and then if we need to, take some action, you know. So patience doesn't mean we don't act, but it's a protection for our mind.
And it also could be that it's testing us too, isn't it? Because sometimes, you know, people say maybe that happened for a reason, to test me, to make me a more patient person, to make me stronger, to make me look for the wise lessons in it. So maybe we can say, oh, what's the lesson for me now?
We learn to think of everything as a spiritual teacher, and what we learn in Buddhism is what we're learning to practice. So what is this teaching me? Is it teaching me about karma? Is it teaching me patience? Is it teaching me compassion? Is it teaching me unconditional love? You know, so we learn what are the teachings that we're looking for in those situations, you know. And and that depends on our view. That depends on us, whether something is a problem or an opportunity.
Excellent. Very interesting, very layered, very thought provoking. Let's go out with that to think about for the evening. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bianca.
Thank you. That was fun.